much, and thank you, Petty Officer Navy, for that very kind introduction. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. As the proud representative of Naval Base Ventura County, the West Coast home of the Seabees, I am truly humbled and honored to have led this effort to designate this post office in Port Hueneme as the U.S. Naval Construction Battalion Seabees Fallen Heroes Post Office Building. This designation serves as a reminder of the many brave men and women of the U.S. Naval Construction Battalion who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. In their 75-year history, the Seabees have served our great nation in times of war and peace with their renowned can-do attitude and spirit. As many of you know, the Seabees say, the difficult we do immediately. The impossible takes a little longer. The Seabees have played critical roles during World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Persian Gulf War, and in Iraq and Afghanistan. They have moved the immovable and tamed the untamable to build bases, roadways, airstrips, and other essential infrastructure necessary for our troops at home and around the world to succeed in their missions. Although primarily known as builders, many Seabees fought bravely throughout these conflicts, side by side with other service members. For instance, construction mechanic 3rd Class Marvin Glenn Shields, who trained right here at Port Hueneme, battled alongside U.S. Special Forces in the Battle of Dong Xuay in Vietnam, despite being badly wounded. Ignoring his wounds, he helped return a wounded Special Forces officer back to safety while simultaneously destroying a Viet Cong machine gun emplacement. His heroism cost him his life, and for his unequivocal bravery, he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. With the support of many of you here today, we are here to recognize the valor of the many brave Seabees like Martin Shields who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and for our security. On Monday, we observed Memorial Day. We came together as a community and as a country to honor and pay solemn tribute to the men and women who gave their lives in service to our great nation. They were our brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, daughters, sons, neighbors, and friends who gave, as President Lincoln said, the last full measure of their devotion in service of something greater than themselves. With fearless devotion and unquestioning love and loyalty to their country, our fallen service members answered the call of duty to serve. They are all a part of a proud legacy of Americans defined by their courage, honor, and selfless sacrifice. It is this point that connects all service members, past and present. It is that same spirit and legacy that has been passed down for generations right here in Ventura County. Seabees work under the motto, Construmus Batumius, or we build, we fight. This post office designation is a small tribute to honor the fallen. As we commemorate their service and their lives, let us also stand with their families and friends. We recognize that we will never be able to fully repay their sacrifice, but we can surely honor it. We honor it by living our own lives by the very example they have set with theirs, and to honor our commitment and sacred obligation to take care of our men and women in uniform and their families. In Congress, we must remember that our legacy is also defined by how we treat our service members when they come home. On this day, let us honor our fallen heroes and find inspiration in their service to our country. We are forever indebted to them for their service to our nation, and it is in their memory that we dedicate this facility today. I would like to thank everyone who supported the legislation to name this facility, including all 53 members of the California Congressional Delegation, Democrats and Republicans, that co-sponsored this bill. Sometimes we don't necessarily agree on everything in Congress, but I'm very, very proud to say that we all agree on the importance of the Seabees to the Navy and to our nation, and are very, very proud of the work our Seabees do. Thank you for this great, wonderful opportunity. God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Congresswoman Brownley. Now please join me in welcoming Captain Mike Sum, Commodore of Naval Construction Group 1. With the motto of train, equip, deploy, and employ, Naval Construction Group 1, also known as our Seabees, prepares the Pacific Fleet Naval Construction Force units to conduct their operations and fulfill their missions. Under Captain Sum's leadership, NCG-1 is comprised of 10 subordinate commands that encompass over 4,000 Navy personnel.
So before I jump into this, I just want to say, Lisa, that was fantastic. Great job with the national anthem. So for those who didn't hear it, I just want to point out again that this is CM1 Harley Navy. Is there any better last name for Petty Officer than Petty Officer Navy? So, great job. So I also want to recognize a couple folks. So Admiral Ives, great to see you here, ma'am. Good to see you. Captain Quinn here. We got Commodore Killian and Command Master Chief here. So great to have you. Master Chief Parker, Senior. Good to see you. Frazier, good to see you. So glad to have all of you here today. Skipper Hubbard here as well. So we've got Skipper Cho from NMCB4, Skipper Hutchison from NCTC. So we've got a good showing of folks here today. So thank you, Congresswoman Brownley, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor to be at the post office renaming that pays tribute to our fallen Seabees. Again, I'm Captain Mike Sum, and I have the honor to serve as the Commodore of Naval Construction Group 1 on the base here in Port Hueneme. It's my privilege to speak on behalf of 75 years of Seabees, not just here in Ventura County, but in Gulfport, Mississippi, and all the places the Seabees have served today and around the world. Seabees were born in the dark days following Pearl Harbor, when the task of building victory from defeat seemed almost insurmountable. The Seabees were created in answer to a crucial demand from builders who could fight, and build and fight they have over the years, island hopping across the Pacific and at the beaches in Normandy, in Africa, in Sicily, Korea, Vietnam, Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan, and many, many other places. Seabees have been in every major conflict the United States has been involved in since our beginning 75 years ago. On Monday, we recognized Memorial Day and remembered all of our servicemen and women who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. Today, we, the U.S. Navy Seabees, are humbled to have our 403 fallen memorialized with the renaming of this post office. Ventura County has been home of the Seabees since our founding. For 75 years, we've trained here, worked here, lived here, raised our families here, and deployed from here. The support received from the community is gracious, and it is overwhelming. Some of those remembered on Monday were your families, or your family's neighbors. They shopped at the same stores, ate at the same restaurants, and went to the same movies as you. Their children attended the same schools, played sports, attended dance recitals, and went on scouting trips with yours, much like we do today. They lived and trained on the same land here in Ventura County before departing to build the road to victory across the Pacific, complete beach landing causeways in Incheon, construct special forces camps in Vietnam, and build forward operating bases and combat outposts in Iraq and Afghanistan. We thank you for taking care of their families then, as you do our families today, as we conduct our nation's work. Whether it was 75 years ago or today, we all joined the military and found our ways to the Seabees for many different reasons. Some to get away, some to learn a new skill, and some to see the world. We stayed because of a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, because of a contribution to something bigger than ourselves, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We stayed because we found a calling, the values of which we find consistent with the men and women we aspire to be: honor, courage, commitment, where integrity, accountability, initiative, toughness are what we expect of ourselves and what we expect of each other. We stayed because we know aspiring to these values will drive us to be our very best selves and positive contributors to the society in which we have sworn to serve. And today, as we reflect on those 403 who've given their lives for our country, who had the same aspirations, the same reasons for joining and staying as we do now, and as we prepare for our nation's next conflicts, we think, there but for the grace of God go I, and we're thankful. Thankful for the opportunity to serve, and thankful we live in a community that honors the sacrifices made by those who've gone before us. And we know this same community will continue to care for our loved ones as we focus on our nation's tasks. So Congresswoman Brownley, for the people of Port Hueneme, people of Ventura County, the state of California, and people of the United States, this gesture not only honors the 403 of our fallen and their families, but the hundreds of thousands of Seabees and families who have served and continue to serve this nation for the last 75 years. We are truly humbled. Thank you. Before I give up the podium, though, could you come on up here, please, Mr. Bingham? So Kent has a model of the Seabee Memorial in Washington, D.C. And ma'am, I'm not sure if you're tracking this or if you remember this, but you were instrumental in having the folks come out and actually do the laser measurement of all of this to get the replica that we have here today. So Mr. Bingham has brought this here today to present to you on behalf of
Thank you, Captain Song. Lastly, please help me welcome Mr. Michael Martino with the United States Postal Service.
That's a tough act to follow. Congresswoman Brownley, great job, really inspiring speech. Captain Song, outstanding summation, and the little statue there, I'm sure it's overwhelming. That's a great touch. I was feeling the emotion myself. On behalf of the United States Postal Service, just a couple of interesting things. There are 32,000 post offices in the United States. 722 of them have been dedicated to an individual or an organization. I can't help but feel how fitting it is for this post office in this location to be honored with being tied to the Seabees and certainly the fallen heroes. I've been to many of these, and I know that when they say it's an act of Congress, they get a post office name, they mean that. However, the interesting thing about that is it might be the one area that Congress really comes together on, because they recognize these 722 individuals, or these 722 organizations deserve the recognition. It's unquestioned. So that's kind of an amazing story. Port Hueneme Post Office, there were 13 carriers who deliver the mail to Port Hueneme. There's 22,000 deliveries in Port Hueneme, or 22,000 residents, about 7,800 deliveries. They do a phenomenal job every day for the citizens of the United States, as does the entire Postal Service. We are maybe one of the last surviving agencies whose only role is to provide a service to every citizen in the United States, and that is the delivery of their mail. Even in the digital age, mail is important to people. We take it very seriously, and we have delivered in those difficult times, much like what I learned about the Seabees, the challenges you had to help with the recovery from hurricanes or natural disasters. I like to think that the Postal Service is the same way. We're like the very next people that are out there. You clear the roads, we start delivering the mail. So it's amazing. I really am honored to be here representing the United States Postal Service, the Sierra Coastal District, the Postmaster of Port Hueneme standing in the back, Michelle Nadosky Ortiz, Postmaster of Oxnard is here because they recognize how important we are to your community. I'm a musician when I'm not in the post office. And I thought it would be appropriate to at least read the words of the Seabees song, which I never really knew existed until I started looking it up, and then I said, wow, now there's a piece of America that is gone. This song is written in 1943, along with all of the other famous military songs that I remember growing up and listening to, that I'm sure all of you do. I'll read the words because the lyrics I think are important. Unless you guys want to stand up and sing, that's up to you. We're the Seabees of the Navy. We can build and we can fight. We'll pave the way to victory and guard it day and night. And we promise that we remember the 7th of December. We're the Seabees of the Navy, bees of the 7 seas. The Navy wanted men. That's where we came in. Mr. Brown and Mr. Jones, the Omens, the Cohens, and Flynn. The Navy wanted more of Uncle Sammy's kin. So we all joined up, and brother, we're in to win. Great song, great lyrics. I was asking Captain Sam, do they still sing this song?
The first verse.
Not the rest of it. Okay, well, the rest of it is pretty good too. Anyways, on behalf of the United States Postal Service, thank you very much for letting us to be part of this. Thank you, Congresswoman Brownley, Captain Sam, all of you that came out to support the fallen heroes of the Seabees. It was an education for me learning about your organization. I'm glad I had the opportunity to hear more about it. Thank you very much.
And now, without any further ado, could Congresswoman Brownley, Captain Som, and Mr. Martino please return to the stage for the unveiling of the commemorative plaque designating this U.S. Postal Facility as U.S. Naval Construction Battalion, Seabees, Fallen Heroes Post Office Building.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this part of the ceremony. However, I believe that there is an event going on nearby. Maybe we have the director.
As we conclude today's ceremony, I would like to extend an invitation to all of you to join us for a small reception with Congresswoman Brownley at the Port Hueneme Historical Society Museum. The address can be found on the back of your program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Captain Sam. Thank you to the Seabees. Thank you very much for your service and the years of dedication into our fallen heroes. That concludes our ceremony. Thank you, Congresswoman.